Amsterdam is a 2022 period comedy thriller film written, directed, and produced by David O. Russell. Led by Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington, the film features an ensemble cast including Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Olyphant, Andrea Riseborough, Taylor Swift, Matthias Schoenaerts, Alessandro Nivola, Rami Malek, and Robert De Niro. It was released in the United States on October 7, 2022, by 20th Century Studios. The story is based on The Business Plot, a 1933 political conspiracy in the U.S., and follows three friends, a doctor, a nurse, and a lawyer, who are caught in the mysterious murder of a retired U.S. general. Filmed in Los Angeles from January to March 2021, it is Russell's first film since Joy. It received mixed reviews from critics, most of whom praised the production design and the cast's performances, but criticized Russell's screenplay and direction. It was also a box office bomb, with estimated losses for the studio reaching $97 million. Plot: in 1918, Bert Berenson is sent by his estranged wife's parents to fight in World War I. While stationed in France, Bert meets and befriends African-American soldier Harold Woodsman. After they sustain injuries in battle, Bert and Harold are nursed back to health by Valerie Vos, an eccentric nurse who makes art out of shrapnel removed from the soldiers, whom they befriend as well. The three move to Amsterdam, where they live together and become close friends until Bert returns to New York City to be with his wife. Harold, who has fallen in love with Valerie and begun a tenuous romantic relationship with her, also leaves to go to New York and fulfill his own aspirations of becoming a lawyer. 15 years later, Bert has opened his own medical practice catering to veterans of the war, but still remains friends with Harold, who is now a lawyer. They have not heard from Valerie since they left Amsterdam. Harold asks Bert to perform an autopsy on Bill Meekins at the behest of Meekins' daughter Elizabeth, who believes that he was murdered. Bert performs the autopsy with the help of nurse Irma St. Clair. The autopsy reveals that Meekins has a considerable amount of poison in his stomach. Bert and Irma theorize that this must have been the cause of death. Bert and Harold meet with Elizabeth to talk about the autopsy results, but she is suddenly killed when a hitman pushes her into traffic. The hitman frames Bert and Harold for her death, while they flee as the police arrive. Bert and Harold attempt to find out who had led Elizabeth to hire them in order to clear their names. This leads them to wealthy textile heir Tom Vos and his patronizing wife Libby. They learn that Valerie is Tom's sister and was the one who convinced Elizabeth to hire them, knowing that they were trustworthy, and that Valerie is under constant supervision by Tom and Libby, who claim that she suffers from a nerve disease. Bert and Harold talk with Tom, who suggests they talk to Gil Dillenbeck, a famous and decorated veteran who was friends with Meekins. While Bert attempts to contact Dillenbeck, Harold and Valerie spend the day at her home, where they notice the hitman, Darim Milfax. They follow him to a forced sterilization clinic owned by a mysterious organization known as the Council of Five. After a fight with Milfax, Harold and Valerie reunite with Bert. Valerie takes them to the Waldorf Astoria, New York, where they meet Paul Canterbury and Henry Norcross, Valerie's benefactors from Amsterdam, who are secretly spies in the intelligence community. Paul and Henry explain that the Council of Five are planning to overthrow the American government and that Dillenbeck can help them foil their plot. The trio meet up with Dillenbeck, who is offered a large sum of money from a man on behalf of an unnamed benefactor to deliver a speech advocating for veterans to forcibly remove President Franklin D. Roosevelt and install Dillenbeck as a puppet dictator instead. Dillenbeck agrees and plans to speak at a reunion gala, which Bert and Harold are hosting, in order to draw out whoever is behind the plot. At the gala, Dillenbeck reads his own speech instead of the one he was paid to read. Milfax intends to shoot Dillenbeck for doing so, but Harold and Valerie spot him and are able to stop him in time. Milfax is arrested, while the Council of Five are revealed to be four industry leaders, including Tom, who are fanatically obsessed with Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler and intend to make America a fascist country. Tom and the other leaders are arrested by the police, but do not stay long and slander Dillenbeck in the press following their release. Dillenbeck testifies about the incident to Congress and returns home to live out his life. Harold and Valerie leave the country since they cannot be together in the United States. Bert wishes them farewell and plans to reopen his medical practice and pursue a relationship with Irma. At the start of the film's end credits, original 1930s film footage of retired Marine Corps Major General Smedley Butler's testimony to the U.S. Congress is shown beside a similar portrayal by General Gil Dillenbeck reading exactly the same script at the same time. Cast. Production. In January 2020, New Regency announced the development on an untitled film written and directed by David O. Russell and starring Christian Bale, with filming expected to begin that April. In February, Margot Robbie and Michael B. Jordan were announced to star, but the latter dropped out before production began due to scheduling conflicts. Jennifer Lawrence was reportedly considered for Robbie's role, while Jamie Foxx was considered for Jordan's. In October, John David Washington was cast as Jordan's replacement. The rest of the ensemble cast was revealed between January and June 2021. Much of the cast worked for scale, and Bale took less than his typical $5 million fee while Malek earned a six-figure salary. Filming was originally set to begin in March 2021 in Boston on a $50 million budget, but was delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Filming was moved to Los Angeles, California after the cast did not want to travel to Boston amid the pandemic. Principal photography took place over 49 days between January and March 2021. The move from Boston to Los Angeles and COVID precautions caused the film's final budget to balloon to $80 million. Crew members included cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki, editor Jay Cassidy, and score composer Hildur Guðnadóttir. In April 2022, at Cinemacon, the film's title was revealed to be Amsterdam. In August, it was revealed that Guðnadóttir had exited as composer, with Daniel Pemberton now replacing her. According to Robbie, on the last day of filming, they kept production going after their filming permit ended, so the police had to call wrap on the film. Release. Marketing. The film was previewed at the 2022 Cinemacon on April 27, 2022. The trailer was released on July 6, 2022, set to 10 years after S's 1971 song I'd Love to Change the World. An edited version of the trailer was shown in theaters, revealing the film's release date as October 7. Character posters were released on September 12, 2022. Disney and Regency spent an estimated $70 million on global promotion. Theatrical. Amsterdam premiered at Alice Tully Hall in New York City on September 18, 2022, and was released in the United States on October 7, 2022, by 20th Century Studios. It was originally scheduled for November 4, 2022 release, but was moved up to October 7 to avoid the release of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, another film being released by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It was also screened in IMAX. A special screening, preceded by a live Q&A broadcast, took place in IMAX theaters nationwide on September 27, 2022. Reception. Box office. As of October 30, 2022, Amsterdam has grossed $14.6 million in the United States and Canada, and $9.6 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $24.2 million, against a production budget of $80 million. Following its opening weekend, Deadline Hollywood estimated the film would lose the studio an estimated $97 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs versus box office grosses and home media revenues. In the United States and Canada, Amsterdam was released alongside Lyle, Crocodile, and was initially projected to gross around $10 million from 3,005 theaters in its opening weekend, with some estimates reaching $15 million. After making $2.6 million on its first day, including $550,000 from Thursday night previews, expectations were lowered to $7 million. The film went on to debut to $6.5 million, finishing in third. Deadline Hollywood blamed the poor performance on the critical response, 134-minute runtime deterring audiences, and Disney being unsure how to market the film due to its quirky style and convoluted plot. The film made $2.2 million in its second weekend, dropping 55% and finishing in fifth.